That's a good description. That's how it should be.
And Mohamed Salah! What a finish! Oxlade-Chamberlain! What a strike! Mohamed Salah! It's going to come to Fabinho with the strike! Oh my word! Now Manchester City away, the game that Jurgen Klopp describes as the toughest in world football. A game where the Liverpool manager says, if you're not perfect in every aspect of the game, you will find it difficult to live with Pep Guardiola's side. And that's on for Sadio Mane! And he somehow kept the ball. Incredible feat by Mohamed Salah. And he goes on! Oh my word!
Yeah, the Etihad is bracing itself for something very special this afternoon. It is the calm before the storm as the footballing world stops for a moment to take in the two best sides on the planet right now, going head-to-head in the race for the Premier League title. Manchester City, of course, ahead by just the 1 point at the moment, take on a momentum-fueled Liverpool. The action gets underway at 4:30 this afternoon, and there is build-up from 3:30 over on LFC TV. Yeah, welcome along to the Matchday live preview presented to you today by Standard Chartered. It feels like we've had one eye on this game almost since the fixtures came out last summer, really. It is now upon us. Delighted to have Mark Lawrenson alongside me. We finally get to look ahead to this massive afternoon. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, and even though obviously the ground's empty, you can just sense there's something in the air, isn't there? That there really seriously is, and I just hope it's the game that everybody wants it to be. And I think, you know, when you look at it, it's between the two best teams, not in Europe, in the world. There are no two teams in any other league that are as good as these two teams.
Well, that brings me on to a quote that I think you said this week. I'm going to read it to you now. This game is the new Barcelona versus Real Madrid in terms of the level both sides are at and the global audience they'll bring in. That is,
did I really say that?
You did, apparently.
Well, that must have been a good moment.
It's wise words from you. I mean, it's some comparison, isn't it? But it underlines the stature of both these two sides right now.
And what I meant from it was basically that even if you weren't a massive football fan, but you would watch Barcelona, Madrid because of the quality, etc. And that's the way that these two are. And, you know, there's hardly like a cigarette paper between the two teams. And the fact that they could probably make 4 teams out of both squads, and they would still be, you know, the second team would still be in the top 6.
So quality,
it is frightening quality, and everywhere you look there's just replacements. So, and the managers are, well, you'd have to argue they're probably the two best managers in the world as well. Yeah,
we'll hear from them a little bit later on in this social show. But just in terms of Liverpool, to focus on them, it really does feel like a few years since they've had a league game of this magnitude, doesn't it?
Well, I can't remember a league game under Klopp as big as this is going to be, and I've just been reading the paper before, and the fact that, you know, Klopp and Guardiola and the families have had dinner together at some wherever place in Manchester. But you know, as soon as it starts, that's completely all gone. But I think it's one of those where we all expect a fab game, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way, and we're all trying to predict
Don't say that.
Well, no, it does, doesn't it? It does, because the sheer pressure of, like, everybody's going to be in here, and it's almost like, OK, then you two teams go at each other, and it might not be that way.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they play it. I mean, let's just take a look back at the Premier League table on the 15th of January, because Liverpool have come an awful long way since this time, when they were 14 points clear of City, albeit Liverpool had those 2 games in hand. But it's a monumental effort that they've been able to close the gap to this extent.
Yeah, and purely and simply they've done it because, stating the obvious, to keep winning the games. But also as well, I think Klopp would probably admit to this, that apart from the odd player, everybody's been fit. And to the turn of the year, you know, to have everybody fit, competing for players, if you're the manager with the quality that we've got, has been a real bonus. And I think that's made the difference. But I will also say, Becky, that, you know, as great as the achievement has been so far to get within a point, it is far easier chasing than being chased. So hopefully we'll be in a position where we are being chased after today.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, isn't it, to maintain that pole position. Where were you back in January? Were you in the camp that City did have it sewn up? Because a lot of people did. I was
probably in a pub in Birkdale, to be fair. No, yeah, I didn't think we'd catch them. I really didn't think that we would catch them, and it makes the effort even better. But obviously, you're not in the dressing room, you're not party to anything in terms of what Klopp said to them. But I think what we've done is we've had a real common sense approach about it, which is just win the games. And easy to say, but it's not like, play well, play well. It's nothing about playing well. It's just winning the games, and that's what's really helped us.
Yeah, in terms of what the Premier League table looks like now, obviously there is just the point in it. I mean, to talk about the run Liverpool have been on, it's 10 games, 23 goals scored, only 2 goals conceded. I mean, they're hitting that momentum at exactly the right time of the season.
And also, it's telling you that everybody's playing well. Obviously not conceding any goals or very, very little. Midfield's been great, etc. Quality of chances that they've made, the amount of goals they've scored, the way that the goals have gone around the team as well, not just your Salahs and your Manes and Jota and those kind of people. And it's been a real all-round effort. And the great thing as well, from the manager's point of view, is he's been able to chop and change the team, and it's not made any difference to the quality at all. So, you look at that and you just think, even if we've had a couple of injuries, we'd probably still be in the same position.
Let's talk about the two managers. You did touch on them a little bit earlier on, but Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, we can show you their record, the teams that they've managed against each other, and it couldn't be tighter. 22 games, 9 wins apiece, 4 draws.
Including teams when they were in Germany.
Yeah, it is, the entirety of it.
Okay.
Goals for Pep's team are 41, Jurgen Klopp's team 37. I mean, you're splitting hairs there, aren't you?
You are splitting hairs, and, wherever they've gone, they've been outstanding managers. They get on. They get on, yeah, although they might be scrapping on the touchline today, which won't be a bad thing. And look, what they will say to you is they've been fabulous teams, fabulous teams that have been run extremely well, that have got outstanding players, etc. But you've still got to win the games. Massive respect between the two, but at 4:30 that counts for nothing.
They'll be sharing a wine probably after the game, though.
Well, they might be whining as well. They might not just be, they might be whining about VAR or something. But yeah, which is good. That's the way it should be. Once it's like players, you play against your mates and everything. But once the game's finished, you're back to being with your mates, aren't you?
OK, well, it is so close between the two managers. Let's hear how they both feel ahead of this titanic clash between the top two today.
It's cool. It's cool. The last 4 years or whatever, since we stepped up a little bit and could close the gap to City slightly, it's interesting. Absolutely, we push each other on incredible point tallies, madness. I would have never thought that these kind of things are possible, and especially not in this league. So the consistency both teams showed in that period is absolutely crazy. We had our top year where we won the league, where obviously City could not. There was a little gap, and then obviously there were years, especially last year, when there was the gap again big because we had our problems. Apart from that, it was always close, which I like. As always said, the closer you get, the more likely it becomes that you can overtake. But we know it's tough. What changed in these 4 years that everybody else thinks it's tough as well when they face us, and that's really good.
We play in a top team, we can win or lose, and with our people, we go for it. Give everything you have inside of you, the best of you have. We know that we don't perform in our excellent way. We don't have many chances to have success, and be solid and be competitive until the last minute. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
Liverpool need to win on Sunday to go top of the table. You only need to draw to stay top. Does that come into your thinking when you're planning the game?
Yeah, we trained today to sit back 90 minutes to 0-0-0-0-0-0. Yeah, it's an opportunity. Listen, never ever in my life I thought about they are not stupid, when it's 5 minutes left and we had to defend to keep the result. Yeah, we're going to do, and that's for sure. But absolutely not. We prepare the game to be ourselves, knowing how to do it. The way they defend is different than other team in the world, other team, how tight they are, and many things. And we have to adapt a little bit, our build-up and our finishing, our final third, and our pressing, and our how to defend back. Few things that we know already because we play, as you know, many times, Simon, in these years, and it's just review or talk about how many times we spoke about them.
Jürgen, you've been very complimentary about Pep and City. When you were 14 points behind, what did it say about the mentality of your players that you were still able to believe that you could close that gap? When you were involved in 3 other competitions, it would have been quite easy to kind of focus on that more than...
The 100% truth is I would have been, I think what we did is normal. If we wouldn't have tried it, that I would have been disappointed. So it's not because... So if you go in a season and the only thing you have is we want to win the league, we are not that club. We cannot be that club because City and all the other teams are in the league. So if you don't win the league, it's disappointment or disappointing. All these kind of things, it's not allowed. So there are things to go for: qualification, Champions League, all cup competition, Champions League, all these kind of things. So there's a lot to go for, and for all these kind of things, you need kind of momentum, you need kind of rhythm, and whatever situation you are in early January, it's your situation. So work from there, and don't suffer because of it. If the gap is too big, then the gap is too big. Then close it. Can you close it until to 1 point? That was not about us. We just won the games. That City didn't win all their games. That made the gap smaller. Otherwise, it would be still 8 points. So, but they dropped here and there. So that's the situation. So that's what I expected from us. That we really go for it from there. If you think about, we have to win City, United, Everton, Tottenham, bam, and you think, okay, that's not possible. But if you play them on one day, it's possible, and that's what we did, and that's what we learned, that's what we educated ourselves to, and I'm happy about that. So the team, we as a group, we can do that with all the difficulties in front of us. I know, and yeah, we knew it's 14 points. But we didn't care. We just wanted to win as many points as possible until the end of the season. That situation didn't change.
Yeah, I tell you what, while you guys were busy watching Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, we were busy running off the pitch because we got attacked by the sprinklers. Your coat hasn't come off too clever.
No, well, where there's claim there's a blame and all that kind of stuff, or the other way around. But hey, it is what it is. I think the groundsman's looked at us and thought, you're from Liverpool, you're getting it. You're
seen the mics?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
right, well, listen,
it's all good now.
It is all good, and I think you've recovered just enough to tell us who you think is going to start in the front 3, because that is the big topic, the big question that everyone wants the answer to. And I think we've gone for Mo Salah first for you.
Yeah, well, I've gone for Mo Salah. I just think you'll play Mo Salah, Mane and Jota through the middle, because just looking at what happened in Portugal the other night, just the way the players came off and on and stuff, I just think that's the way that he will go. People are saying maybe Firmino. Well, we're all guessing, aren't we? But whichever 3 it is, it works. I mean, Salah and Mane are going to start, I would have thought. And then the only real argument is it Firmino or is it Jota? I think he might just go for Jota because he comes up and gets goals from great, steals into great positions, scores with his head, etc. And probably more of a threat in terms of Firmino in front of goal.
Let's talk about Mo Salah first, because by his incredible standards, his form at the moment is maybe taking a little bit of a dip, but this kind of stage is what he thrives on. The eyes of the world will be watching him today, and he'll be so fired up for this one.
Oh yeah, and I mean the quality of that goal he scored against City as well was unbelievable, as everybody knows. But he is a big game player. He can sell himself if that's what he wants to do. I mean, I don't know whether we're allowed to talk about his contract, but you have to, because it's true that, imagine if he started today and scored a hat-trick, I think he'll get a contract tomorrow. So that's the way that football is. But yeah, I think all our players are all big game players now. They're all used to that. But it might just be the added incentive that Salah needs. But he's not been playing poorly. He just hasn't scored on a regular basis, which he normally does.
Let's talk about Sadio Mane, who turns 30 incidentally today. So what a birthday present that would be for him if Liverpool could get 3 points here today. But again, by his standards, having a little bit of a goal drought before he got that one in midweek against Benfica, which is a confidence booster, I guess. Yeah,
but I don't, you wouldn't be particularly too worried about that, because they score, they score all the time. And does it really matter if we win 1-0 and Jota scores? Not for me. But I think if you're a striker, one of the things is, if you don't score, you don't feel like you've really taken part in the game. But of course they do. I mean, even Salah works extremely hard going back the other way. We know what Mane does. But look, we'll take anything. But I do think they today would probably be the preferred 3. And I don't think I think that City, looking at those three, think, wow, and we might just send them back a little bit, whereas if it were Firmino dropping deeper, it might help City a little bit.
Having the option of someone like Luis Diaz coming off the bench, obviously he's still got that slightly unknown quantity about him, hasn't he? A bit of a wild card element at the moment.
Yeah, and you know, if you're Colombian, you can play against whoever in South America, and you know, half the people are getting sent off for chopping you down, all those kind of things. Yeah, he's just an outstanding player. I don't know anybody really that's made as good an impression after only, what, 6-8 games so far, and you know, completely different country, absolutely everything about it, the language, etc. And you just saw within the first 5 minutes when he came on, you just think, wow, we've got a player. And yeah, he looks at the moment as though he's going to be absolutely fabulous for us.
Let's briefly touch on the danger men for Manchester City. I mean, we could do a long section on this, but we're going to focus on Phil Foden, who loves playing against Liverpool. 3 goals in his last 3 appearances.
It's a worry, isn't it? Yeah, just great quality. You know, where does he play? Nobody really knows where he plays. Sometimes he plays as the missing number 9 or whatever you want to call it. Great vision, left foot, etc., etc. He's just an outstanding player. But look, both teams have him in every single position. So if you worry about him, then obviously somebody else is playing better. And I think the other one would be De Bruyne. I mean, De Bruyne is the only player that City can't replace. I think they can replace Foden with all sorts of other different players, but you cannot replace De Bruyne. So we need to be tight on him because he's a special player.
Yeah, and they obviously combined midweek, didn't they, against Atletico? Foden set up KDB for the winner, the only goal here.
Yeah, but the other thing, Becky, is they've got goals from all over. And if you consider, we're all saying, oh, they can't win the league or the Champions League because they've not got a centre forward. Well, they have. They're all centre forwards at times, and they can all take the role. Sterling's come back in. He was left out for a while. He started to look like the player as well that we all know is, and not so much kind of scoring, but obviously just setting up chances for everybody else.
Okay, that is it from us here pitchside for the moment. Laurel is going to be back though in Matchday Live to give us his thoughts on the team news, and all the best build-up is on LFC TV and LFC TV Go. From 3:30, Peter McDowell is going to be joined in the studio by Gary Gillespie and Stephen Warnock as well for Matchday Live, as well as more from Mark. As I say, he'll be alongside me with all the team news. Then from 4:30, it's on to the match. We've got live audio commentary from Steve Punter and Jay Spearing taking you through every kick of the game here at the Etihad. Come full time at around 6:30 tonight, back in the studio for Matchday Reaction. Pete will be getting the in-depth analysis. I will be getting the instant reaction to what promises to be a rather captivating 90 minutes. Thanks for watching and goodbye.